hat today because I have impossibly bad bedhead. Hey there everybody, welcome back to the Otaku Crypt. I am the keeper of this here crypt, Mr. Josh AT, and it is anime review time once again. So as someone who has been a fan of anime for 22 years now, I've seen the ebb and flow in terms of how good a season or year in anime can be. And it has been a couple of solid years, and I am, as a fan, just so excited and so happy that there is so much quality anime going on again, and the escape of the archetypes and tropes that was plaguing the medium for a couple of years there. We're finally getting out of it. There's lots of cool, interesting, different stuff going on. And one of them I want to talk about today is a little number called Drifters. Now, Drifters is brought to us by the creators of legendary anime Hellsing. And all it takes is one look at the first character's eyes to know this for sure. Because you get that first close-up on a character and you see those little inner iris rings. Anybody who's ever watched Hellsing knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's a dead giveaway. But this show focuses on various historical figures being snatched out of our world at the moment of their death, appearing in some sort of precipice world with a mysterious figure at a desk, and then awakening in an alternate fantasy world. So that premise is interesting enough without the fact that all of these people who have been taken to this new world are famous warriors, strategists, emperors, rulers, generals, all of that. And the locals of this fantasy world give these people the name Drifters. Now our three main Drifters are famous Japanese warriors, Tohisa, Nobunaga, and Yoichi, who come from different points in Japanese history but are famous for their victories, military styles, and fighting styles. And so the three of them are brought together and immediately begin a campaign to conquer this new world. Particularly the case of Nobunaga, who is the strategist of the group. And he quickly lines out his plan to conquer this new world. Now the Drifters are not the only ones who have been brought over from our world. They have counterparts who were brought to this world by a different mysterious entity in the Precipice world, but they are darker in nature and serve a mysterious being called the Black King. These people are given the name the Ends and seem to strive for the destruction of this world as opposed to just being in it. And it goes from there. It's really fascinating to watch because of not only how these various historical people and personalities will interact with each other, which if you're a history buff, you've always played that game. If you've ever wondered how, let's say, Joan of Arc and Hannibal of Carthage might interact, this show addresses that. In fact, that is probably one of the funniest pairings that you need to be aware of when watching this show, is that Hannibal and Scipio Africanus are brought to this world together, and they just constantly bicker like an old married couple, which is probably the funniest thing in this show. However, as you might expect from a show created by the creators of Hellsing, tons of action in this show. Bloody action. Particularly from Tohisa, who, of the main Drifters, is basically the forward general. He's the first guy to charge in, and he has a certain penchant for removing people's heads. In fact, it's basically his only tactic. He's looking to remove heads, and he is very good at it. But that is one of the things I love about the core group, is that the three of them together make up a wonderful, balanced military tribunal, in the fact that Nobunaga will strategically lead from the rear, Tohisa will charge in with the troops, and Yoichi, being a famous archer, is the one who's going to lead the skirmishers. And where does their army come from? Well, this is a fantasy world, and one of the very first things that happens is that these three examine the plight of the elves, who, of course, in true fantasy fashion, are being subjugated by a human empire. Any fantasy lovers knows that's a typical thing. And overall, with this show, it's probably gonna fall into the ether a little bit because it doesn't have the old reputation that Hellsing did, especially because Hellsing was made once and then remade in Hellsing Ultimate, which had a lot of support and hype around it. Now this show Drifters, though, I think more people need to be watching it simply because it's playing with interesting concepts. And in true fashion to the creators, they're not afraid to explore the darker aspects of human nature, particularly what happens in wartime. And I think any anime fans who are also history buffs are going to eat this show up because of, again, you always kind of wonder what would happen if these characters and historical figures interacted with each other. And that is what the show is basically all about, particularly how they would form alliances together. Also, some other great things the show brings to the table is gorgeous animation. That is what this studio is known for. If you have ever watched Hellsing Ultimate, it is one of the most beautiful things you have ever seen, despite the fact that it's dark and bloody. Like, the amount of detail that goes into that blood splatter. It's beautiful from the artistic standpoint, and that's brought into Drifters. And it does something that will win me over right away, a very intentional and planned opening sequence. As opposed to just picking some popular song and throwing in cuts of the show over it, they made a purposeful, choreographed and scored opening with a great heavy rock song that is such an earworm, and there are parts that are synced up in the show to look like background characters and people are singing along. And when you watch the show, especially if you did in a couple binge sessions like I did, you're going to be walking around humming that freaking song. You're going to be walking around going na 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 na. And now making this video, that's gonna be in my head for at least the remainder of the day and beyond. But yes, if you are into the bloody style, cool action shows, or just a fan of Hellsing, you're gonna want to go and check out Drifters. And also, I highly recommend it to history buffs. It's just so much fun. And not only that, it is quite nuanced in who is the good guys versus the bad guys. Just because we're focused on one group doesn't necessarily mean their motivations are correct or true. And this one is a definite recommendation. Go check out Drifters. The first season is up on Crunchyroll with a second season already in the works according to their trailers. So go give it a watch, come back and tell us what you thought of it. Remember, you can always go to www.otakucrypt.com to see everything else that we do. Lots of photo shoots. The podcast is gonna be coming back eventually. That one's totally on me. I want it though. It'll be back. It'll be back, I promise. And you can subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out the other videos that we've done recently here, including we just got back from Comic-Con and there's a great cosplayer compilation video up. Check that out, like, comment, and share all that stuff. That's what really helps us get these videos out and motivates us to make more for you. So, I am the Crypt Keeper, Josh E.T. This is the Otaku Crypt. Thank you so much again for watching, and we'll see you next time.